This call is being recorded.
Good morning, everyone. This is Renee Ratnister, creator and executive producer of the Cooking Without Looking TV show. We're the first TV show which features people who are blind and visually impaired. And we also have a motto which says we're changing the way people see blindness. And today we're here with Joe Ruffalo, who is a very patient man. Joe, how's it going?
Well, I'm glad you're recording the patient part of it because I want to have my wife hear that. That's important. I'm doing well. This is the first time I can ever remember that where I live in New Jersey, which is Bloomfield in Essex County, outside of Newark. First time that I can ever remember the month of February without one flake of snow, and the next few days look like no snow. So I don't know what that means, but could be a nice early spring. But doing well, doing fine, and glad to be on your show with you, Renee, and ready to do what you need me to do.
Well, thank you so much. Well, just let all of us understand life from your point of view. How did that go? You said that you started to become blind at 27?
Yeah, I was 20. I always wore glasses. I was in the service. I drove trucks. I was in Vietnam, came home, started to well, I went to school, and I really should have taken some time to get my head straight after I came back, but went to school. I really wasn't into the school part, started working, and I really enjoyed the work part of it and worked my way up through the ranks and became a manager with the Miles shoe store. Also with Tom McCann, same company. And I was moving along quite nicely. I was in Boston, and Buffalo, and some other stores along the way, increasing profits and things like that. So I had one more store to complete my journey, and if I did well there, I was going to become a district sales manager at that time, perhaps one of the youngest to go from stock boy to district sales manager in about 4 or 5 years, I guess it would have been. But 6 months prior to that, my brother discovered that he had RP. I went for my test. Doctor said you don't have RP, retinitis pigmentosa. Went out and celebrated and bought a car. 6 months later, have a hard time seeing. I went back to the doctor and he said, "Why'd you buy that car? You have RP." And I wanted to really haul off and whack the guy. Whack means hit him, not rub him out. Not rub him out.
Right,
But I
right.
was
That's
very
right. You
upset
are
over that.
Italian and from New Jersey,
I
right?
know. You have to be careful. The words mean different in different parts of the country. So you got to be careful. When they, Joe, I'll shoot you an email. Don't say shoot to me. Send me an email. Don't say shoot me an email. But,
well, in TV, we always say we're going to shoot people, and that means we're going to take your photograph. We're not
I
really
hear
going
you.
to really
Yeah,
pull a
up in
gun
New
out.
Jersey, it means something a little bit different at times. Like, you want to go fishing? You got to be very careful what the word fishing means. Very careful.
Oh, well, I just learned something new then.
Especially if you show up at the pier and there's a cement and shoes close by. You have to be careful. No, not really. But anyway,
Oh,
so I went through the anger stage. I don't think anybody is ever happy to hear, "Hey, you're going to be blind someday." "Oh, doctor, thank you for this new challenge." No, you're pretty upset. And then went through the denial stage. Joe used a cane. "I don't need one. I'm only visually impaired. I'm not blind." As I crossed the street and cars are beeping at me and terrible, missing that last step off the curb or so I needed a cane. I know I to learn what I needed to become a successful person. And then the ADA part of it, anger, denial, and acceptance, that was the key. The acceptance part was the key. Um, when people believed in me before I believed in myself, instead of the pat on the back, they gave me the shove. Instead of the tap on the rear end, they gave me a kick. So I needed to figure out what skills and techniques do I need to learn as a person who's losing eyesight, not my vision, and I'll explain that in a second. What did I need to do? Who do I need to talk to? I need to talk to other people who are successful, who are blind. And when I say I was losing my eyesight, not my vision is in my heart. It's in all our hearts to be the best we can be, to be the best fathers, best husbands, get a job, complain about my taxes and my mortgage, and just be like everybody else. And the only
Yeah.
characteristic, yeah, I'm blind and you're not. That's the only difference. I wanted to live the life I want and transform my dreams into reality so I can do what I need to do.
Well, it sounds like you've done a wonderful job. Where did you go from there?
Well, I've been president now for 27 years in the NFB in New Jersey. I'll be stepping down this fall. That's the plan. I'll still be very active in the federation because they've given me the skills and techniques and opportunity to uh, do the things I wanted to do. I have every so often an opportunity to travel around the country and be the keynote speaker at different state conventions and meeting people around the country, which is really a wonderful thing. Um, and just to increase my awareness and knowledge of blindness, what it is and what it isn't, what misconceptions there are out there, and how we can diffuse the negativity of blindness.
Well,
Blindness
give us some
never.
exceptions. A lot of people. That's the reason we do our show, because changing the way we see blindness. Give us some exceptions. What people think living a blind life is and what it actually is.
Well, that's a great question because I was just going to give you an example. I had a person call me several months ago who is losing her eyesight. She's a lawyer. She gets to work real early in the morning before the other lawyers get there so she can read her emails from the night before. She has to squint and get real close to the printer. And then when the other workers come in, she doesn't do that. She doesn't want them to know she can't see. Yet she's walked into the cooler and knocked it over. Yet she's
Mm.
tripped over a box that was in the hallway. Um, you have to accept who you are before others accept you. You have to be a competent and confident person. Because if you don't accept who you are, how do you expect others to treat you or to accept you? So she's a lawyer, and she was going to quit her job. So why would you quit your job? Joe, I can't see any longer. I can't see the screen. And then I turn on my computer real loud so they can hear the Jaws. And I tell her about Jaws. Really? And I said, look, blindness did not take away your education. You graduated high school, college, law school, you interned, you got a job. The only difference now is you need blindness skills to continue working as a lawyer. And lo and behold, that a few months later, Scott LaBar, who's a lawyer from Colorado, was our national rep. She came down and met him, and she's getting her blindness skills under her belt so she can continue doing what she needs to do. Blindness does not need to end your career and your lifestyle. You need to embrace it. It's hard. I know it's hard. But once you embrace it and say, what do I need to do to learn the skills and techniques I need to learn so I can continue living the life that I want to live? It happens all the time. People
Well,
panic.
that's a
Oh
good
my.
point.
Yep. Yep. Sometimes, Renee, people panic. A simple thing like toothpaste on a toothbrush. And one lady, I spill half my toothpaste into the sink, and I said, "What's the purpose of toothpaste?" She goes, "What do you mean?" "It's to brush your teeth." "Yeah, and where are your teeth? In a glass
In your
or
mouth.
in your mouth?" I try to joke with people. They're in my mouth.
Right.
Okay, so take the lid off the toothpaste, squirt some in, and brush your teeth. Oh my goodness, that's as simple as every problem, Renee. I tell this all the time. Every problem contains solutions. You may not like the solutions, but there are solutions to every problem out there. Oh, I have to give up my car. I don't want to give up my car. I only drive from here to the grocery store and back again. You know you shouldn't be driving. And I said this to the seniors that I've worked with. What would you do if someone with your eyesight went down the street and hit and killed one of your grandkids? What would you do? And Renee, it's remarkable. Uh, 7 out of 10 people within a 2 week period, some that same day, give up driving their car. You have to be realistic here. Um, you're driving a car that weighs 2,000 pounds or more, going 30 miles an hour. and you hit somebody, you got some problems. You'll never forgive yourself. So, okay, what's the solution? Well, there's Uber, there's Lyft, there's cabs, there's paratransit, there's bus, there's hiring a driver. I gave you lots of solutions. You may not like any of them, but there's solutions for you.
Right,
So
right.
that's what we try to do. How can we solve the? We know what the problem is. We know what the problem. So come to me with solutions. I can't read anymore. I can't see the print. Well, we can talk about getting enlargement on your screen, maybe getting a closed circuit TV, a magnifier. Maybe you need to learn Braille. There's lots of solutions out there. Lots. So we have to figure out which one fits our code that day or week or month or year or whatever, and just go with it. So there's lots
What
of
are the
ways to do it.
misconceptions? I'm sorry. What are
Yeah.
some of the misconceptions that you see
Well,
sighted people have?
I can't work any longer. I can't travel any longer. I can't read my books, my magazines, my newspapers any longer. I can't cook any longer. And we know you can cook because you are the cooking lady there. So, and lots of people can cook. And so they just don't. They're afraid of the unknown, and they don't know what they don't know until they know that they can do it. So someone has to come over and teach them some simple things. Um, when I became a baker for a while, I learned some great techniques. Trying to pour vanilla out of that little vanilla jar you buy in a store, a quarter teaspoon of vanilla. You probably spill half the bottle trying to get a. So a friend of mine told me to get a baby jar, something with a wide mouth on it, and clean it out really good, stick it in a dishwasher, and then put the vanilla in there in a jar that has a wider mouth to it. Go to the dollar store and buy some measuring spoons that are metal and bend them so it becomes a ladle. And that's the way to do it. I've told that to sighted people too. Oh my goodness, what a great idea!
That is a great idea. Well,
I still have
that's the
it.
thing. You know what? A lot of the things we have, a lot of the tips we use, can be used either by blind or sighted people. Cutting an onion. Heck, people are always complaining about it rolling around. You cut it in half. You put a flat side down, and you cut it that way.
Yep. There's lots of ways of doing lots of things. Even here's another one too. I had Well, let me tell you a story. I went to this woman's home. She was 85 years old. I got a call from her daughter. Her daughter said, "My mom is losing her eyesight. She's going blind, and we want to take the stove out of the house. And my mother's fighting. So can you come
Oh my
over?
God.
Yeah, can you come over?" So I said, "I'll only come over and talk to your mom if you're there and other family members are there." So she, I'll get a lot of people to come over. She thought we were going to gang up on poor Mary. But I wanted them there to
No.
see that Mary could still do these things. So talking with Mary, I asked her a couple of questions, and her daughter started answering the questions for her mom. And I said, "Let me take a gamble here." I said, "Mary, how do you do that?" She says, "Do what?" "I'm asking you a question, and you're throwing your voice behind me. Are you a ventriloquist?" She tells her daughter, "Shut your mouth. I'll answer the questions." So it got to a point where I said, "Now, Mary, you're 85 years old. How old were you when you were in the kitchen to help Grandma and Aunt Mary, or whatever?" "Oh, I was a little girl,
Right.
Joe, 6, 7 years old in the kitchen." "So let's say you have almost 80 years experience in the kitchen." I never thought of it that way. So I turned to the family members and said, "I can't teach her how to cook." "Say the stove." "No, no, 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 no. She has 80 years experience. She can teach me some techniques, and she can teach me how to cook. What she doesn't know is how to cook as a person who is losing her eyesight." So the daughter said, "Mom, what happens if you drop an egg on the floor?" She says, "I pick it up like I dropped the
Pick
other
it up.
36 eggs on the floor." So I went to the kitchen, and we got a Tupperware bowl, and we put the flour from the canister into the Tupperware bowl. Why? Again, a wider mouth. And she needed a cup of flour. I said, "Here's what you do. You open up the lid, of course, and you put your cup, fill it up, level it off with the back of the butter knife. All the excess flour now goes right back into the Tupperware bowl. put the lid on it, and there's no cleanup. You didn't spill anything. So the daughter says, "Wow, that's a great idea." So, make a long story short, Mary went back to cooking, and in the job I had, we weren't supposed to take any food from people and things like that and gifts. But I had an appointment with her at 2 o'clock, and went over there. And her family was there, maybe 4 or 5 of her family members were there. Myself, my driver. The table was set, and she had made veal cutlets, a little bit of
Oh,
macaroni, and she made a
nice.
little cake. And now I'm not supposed to eat any of this. I can get fired. I said, heck with it. I'm Italian. She cooked for me. I'm eating. And she had the
That's
biggest
right.
smile on her face. She went back to cooking. Don't you know, about a month or two later, Mary passed away. I went to the funeral
Oh,
parlor. Her daughter came up to me and said, I've been apologizing to my mother ever since. I was so blinded, she said. I was the one that was blinded that she couldn't do it. I really belittled my mother, yelled at her all the time, and for that I apologize. I said, you were doing it out of the kindness of your heart. You were protecting your mom. You did it out of love, not out of hate. But we all learn our lesson here. There's a technique for everything. And like I said, she had 80 years experience in the kitchen. She just needed to learn how to do it with some different kind of techniques. And that's one of my favorite stories because she went back to cooking, having a good old time doing it. So, but there's other stories out there too. If you, one of my seniors, I think I told you this story before, Mr. Rowe, lived to be 105. 100th birthday came along, and the building that he lived in threw a party for him. I was able to get a used closed circuit TV that we gave him, and he said, "You know what you did for me, Mr. Ruffalo? You gave me my pride and dignity back. Now I can read to my
wow.
grandchildren, and they don't have to read to me." And then someone yelled out, Renee, someone, "James, what's the secret to live to 100?" He said, four things you need to do. Number one, never ever leave home without God in your heart. Second thing
Oh,
he
that's
said,
beautiful.
second thing he said, got a lot of laughter, Renee. He said, avoid stress. Avoid family members who cause you stress. Avoid workers, co-workers, neighbors who cause you stress. Be nice to them. Wave to them from a distance and blow them a kiss, but avoid them. Third thing he
Blowing
said
the
had the,
kiss.
it's really cool. Really. Third thing he said was, wake up every day with a purpose and a goal. Wake up every day with a purpose and a goal. Fourth thing he said was, meet every challenge with a positive attitude. So I said to Mr. Rowe, you have just given me banquet material. And he says, I'm glad I did. But there's five things you need to do so you can live to 100. He goes, five? What's the fifth? Don't die before you're 100. That's the most important one right there. So, but it's all about attitude, Renee. It's all about attitude.
It is.
Attitude is
It,
everything.
it
I
is,
had
and it's
some,
with all of us.
yeah, it's right. There's nothing to do with blindness or not. But attitude,
Right,
like,
exactly.
I just came back from the doctors the other day. I had my checkup, and they ask you, the usual questions. Allergic to cheese? No. This? No. That? No. Bup, 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 bup. Are you allergic to anything? I said, yes. Like, well, what are you allergic to? I said, negative people.
Here you go. There
I'm
you go.
allergic to negative people. Put it down on my chart. Have some fun with life. And Renee, as I told you before, I am serious when I need to be serious. But laughter, I remember reading the Reader's Digest. Laughter is the best medicine. I laugh at myself all the time. Um, I tell jokes that deal with myself. I don't make fun of people. That's not laughter. So if I'm going to make fun of somebody, I make fun of myself. And
Right.
that's what we need to do in life: to laugh at life, move forward, help each other. Help each other. The more you volunteer, the more you get out of it as a volunteer. So many of my volunteers in my program, I said, John, must be doing something wrong. What do you mean? I'm getting more out of this than I'm giving. I say to them, good, you're learning to give more. The more you give, the more you get. That's just how it works. That's
That's
my
very true.
that's yeah. It's a formula that I use all the time. The more you give, the more you get. You know, and as you know, when you volunteer for an organization or a cause or an activity, my mother said to me, "What is your payment in the NFB? How much you get paid?" Ma, I don't get paid
Oh,
anything. And you're still doing this? Yeah. Why? Ma, did you ever volunteer? Yes. Why did you do it? Because I loved it. Well, that's what I do it. Then I said to her, you know what? I do get paid. I do get paid. Oh, can you tell me how much? Well, it's not really how much I get paid, but I get paid. I get paid when a little kid makes me a lopsided cupcake that she made for me, or cookies made by another kid, or a phone call saying, Mr. Ruffalo, I ran for school secretary and I won. Or I ran for school secretary and I lost. I said, you didn't lose. I lost by 8 votes. Not lose. You may have not won the election, but you didn't lose. You've gained new friendship. You've gained new insight for people to see you as a blind young lady going up on that stage, using your cane, taking out your braille note, and reading your speech in braille in front of the school. You won the respect of others. There'll be other elections. There'll be others. And the election would only last for 1 year. What you did today could last a lifetime of memories for those who heard you speak. You won. So important. So important.
it really is. There's so many lessons that you can learn, and as you say, you don't get paid for when you volunteer something, but you get so much more. You gain a lot of gratitude. You learn. You gain an education. You gain insight into another person's humanity, and you increase your own. It's just a beautiful sight to see, and it's something wonderful to feel, and um we had an elderly lady one time, and she was in the audience, and she was like, well, at the end of it, we had a gentleman who had macular, and he grabbed for what he thought was a rag, a white cloth to wipe up, and he ended up sticking his hand into a bowl full of whipped cream. And it got a lot of laughter. We put laughter in. Sometimes people think that you don't put anything with humor in, something with blind people, but there is a mixture, and it's actually very potent, and it's an anecdote, right? And so the little old lady comes up to me after the show, and she says, I'm 75 years old, and I've been cooking all of my life, but I found out I was blind about 6 months ago. She goes, and I didn't want to go back into the kitchen. I haven't been back in the kitchen. She goes, but he made a mistake. She was afraid of making mistakes, and that's why she wouldn't go in the kitchen. She goes, now I'm going back into the kitchen and cook again. But we all make mistakes. That even almost
Absolutely.
has nothing to do with eyesight.
Yep. Yep. Well, one time a kid made this cake. She came out a little lopsided, but you really can't tell. There's more icing on the lopsided side. Would you like a piece of it? Yeah, give me the lopsided side. I like homemade icing. And so I took a negative minute to. I like that. Oh, it was delicious. Very good. Talking about making fun of yourself or laughter. I did a speech, a talk at the National Center for a Senior Possibilities Fair. And it was a luncheon speech, and I finished. I was going back to the table, and a lady stopped me before I got back to where I was seated. She said, "Are you Joe Ruffalo?" I said, "Yes." Thank you for that nice speech you gave. Well, thank you. She goes, "You look very familiar." So I said to her, "Have you been in any National Federation of Blind functions before?" "No, this is my first." So I figured I'd joke around with her a little bit. So, well, you may have seen me on TV or in the movies. You were on TV and in the movies? I said, yeah, I played double for the Planet of the Apes and for King Kong. And she put her nose to my nose and said, yes, I see the resemblance, and walked away. I tell that story all the time. I have to laugh, have some fun. Have some
That's
fun.
it. We all have to have fun. We make fun out of ourselves. As you say, don't make fun out of others. But so, Joel, do you have a recipe for me today?
I do not because, oh, yes, I do. I do have a recipe for you. Again, having fun. I'm serious when I need to be, and fun is what we're all about. So it's called Alaskan Nuggets. Alaskan
Oh
Nuggets.
no.
And oh, this is anyone who's afraid to go into the kitchen can do this one. Believe me. You take an empty ice tray. Make sure it's nice and clean. Stick it in the dishwasher, nice and clean, and then you fill it with water. Put it back in the freezer. Wait about 2 or 3 hours. Take it out. Turn it over. Push down on it, and out comes Alaskan nuggets, known as ice cubes. So give that a try,
Oh,
everybody. I
Joe.
think you can do it. That's your first step to get back into the kitchen, laugh about it, have some fun with it, and that's what we try to do here. But it's all
Oh,
about
that's great.
Renee believing in yourself. That's the key.
It really is. What? How can people get a hold of you?
With a lasso, that's one way.
I knew I was going to get a joke out of
Oh,
that.
yeah, you go. Well, they can call me at 973 743 0075. That's my home number. If not at home, leave your name and leave your number on the machine and miss date and time to call you back. I will return the call. Or if you want to email me at nfbnj1@verizon.net. And our state website is, of course, www.nfbnj.org, where you'll see my phone number up there too. So
Well,
those are the three ways you can get me.
well, thank you, Joe. I've really enjoyed listening to you and your stories. You've got an amazing attitude, and I'm sure you put a lot of smiles on a lot of people's faces.
Well, I hope I
And
did
so,
because
thank you.
I thank you. I've been told I do have an attitude, but hopefully it's a positive attitude and not the negative attitude. But
Those are very
again,
nice.
Renee, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for what you do to bring smiles to people's faces and showing people that if you want to do it, there's a way to get it done.
Well,
Solutions
thank
to
you,
everything.
Joe.
Thank you, Renee.
Thank you. And again, this has been the Cooking Without Looking TV show podcast. I'm Renee Rentmeester, and the creator and executive producer of the show. And in case you want to get a hold of us, you can call me at 305-200-9104. We're at www.cookingwithoutlookingtv.wordpress.com. And have a wonderful day. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I've been sitting here all day, I've been sitting in this waiting room, and I've been waiting on my friends, yes, I'm waiting on this conference call, all alone, and I'm on hold, well, yes, I'm on hold. I hope it's not all day. Hey! Well, I wonder where they are, yes, I wonder where my friends have gone. Where'd they go? Tell me, where could they be while I'm waiting on this conference call? I don't know. Well, I'm holding on my phone, yes, I'm holding on the line. Hey! I don't know where they are, I don't know why I'm still alone.